All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. I am Vinny, along with Kim, after a week off due to moving and other stuff, but we're back.
We're back.
As a matter of fact, last week at this time slot, I did do an impromptu live update, just kind of going over the state of Suds and Squared Circle Media, just a lot of the upcoming content coming up, and we're going to be doing a lot more with TikTok and also me going back to school in April for my second master's degree. So just a lot of stuff coming up in 2026 for Suds and Squared Circle Media. So that's what I did, so you probably caught that. That is up on the YouTube channel as well. So anyways, Kim, how are you? How was your week?
Oh, well, my week has been just adjusting to the new apartment, unpacking, making sure the cats are happy. Just, a lot of just odds and ends and all the craziness that comes with moving to a new apartment on the other side of town. But
Yeah.
but yeah, now that I'm starting to settle in, it's a good neighborhood, and it's fun to be able to start do my initial podcast, or my first podcast from my new pad, from my new place. So
Very nice, very nice. But anyways, yes, folks, we are here today. As you're watching it, it's February 26th. We are recording Tuesday night, the 24th of February, which I can't believe February is already almost over.
Don't even get me started. It's crazy. I mean, I know it's the shortest month, but still.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, it's today is February 26th. We are going to be reviewing season 7, episode number 13. Yeah, episode 13. Here Comes the Bride. And it was as it's been a very short episode.
Yep, about 20 minutes, give or take.
Yeah, of course. But before we get into it, I do want to go ahead and give a congratulations shout out to AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. After being retired at the Royal Rumble from his loss to Gunther, he was announced last night as being part of the 2026 class of the WWE Hall of Fame going in on WrestleMania weekend. So congratulations to AJ Styles for that awesome feat. Also, do want to go over and let everybody know that we are still running our promotion every month for the year of 2026. Every month we're running a promotion for people to win a Suds and Squared Circle Media t-shirt. All you have to do to enter is go onto our YouTube channel, suds-media.com, and on any of our videos, give us a super chat, a super thanks, or a super sticker. Any of the supers that you can even do $1.99. Any of them help support our network, and any of them, and all of them, will go into a monthly drawing for a Suds and Squared Circle Media t-shirt. So go ahead, support our network, and possibly win a Suds t-shirt. And that's for any of our channel, any of our shows, whether it's Dockside at the Bay, Suds News, Freestyling on Real American Freestyle, Booked Beyond Reality, Pop Culture Time Machine, or so much more. All right. With that said, we might as well get into our accounting of this episode as we go on to Here Comes the Bride, because we get into the wedding of Adam and Vivian.
Yep. Yeah, we start out though. I mean, we wind up, at the top of the episode. Mm-hmm. Wind up with we're in Bay City, and we get a little update on Sara, poor Sara, who is apparently, what was it, 42% brain activity?
Yes.
Like, it's not looking good for our girl. Basically, doctor played by
Rael Andrews.
Yes. Yep. Such a good actor. I always forget his name. I always blank on his name, but yes, he basically tells Lex and Sophia that they need to be prepping for the worst. That it's just not looking good for Sara at the moment. And Sophia has that interesting kind of moment while they're in the office talking, where she's almost summoned to Sara's bedside by her psychic visions and her whole, cosmic connection situation to Sara and the great beyond, and wherever that hallway is that Sara's stuck in. But yeah.
And this is actually the episode right after Jackie Zeman passed away, because they did have the right at the very beginning of the episode, they had the placard to say in love and memory of Jackie Zeman. So it's bittersweet. Again, we've said it before, seeing Jackie Zeman as well as Trisha Rogers on these episodes, knowing they've both
as well as and I'm forgetting the fact even Jack, the actor playing Jack, also no longer with us, and he was in the scene as well, trying to get an update on Sarah's condition and everything that's going on. So just I'm glad that those actors had the opportunity to share those scenes together, but it is bittersweet watching moments like that.
And Sophia and Sophia Matson is such a 180-degree turn from Bobby Spencer that we know Jackie Zeman as, but
but the sass is still there.
The sass is still there. I love the Southern accent. Like, the Southern accent just goes with her.
Oh, it does. It really does.
And the way that they're portraying her with, the psychic medium abilities. Yeah. What's really great about The Bay, and we've said it before, but it does incorporate all the different soap tropes we've seen, especially on Days of Our Lives. We've seen the supernatural, the paranormal on General Hospital.
Possession arc. Come on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On General Hospital, we've seen the alien living above Anna Devane's house, apartment, garage, or whatever.
And even All My Children. Now, granted, they were, I don't know, I always found All My Children, One Life to Live a little bit more grounded. They didn't really get into the whole campy thing, but they did have the character of Opal, who towards the end definitely was played by Jill Larson, at least when I was watching, previously played by, oh goodness, I'm blanking on her name, but definitely, Jill Larson's take on the character involved a lot of Opal being a little bit campy, the psychic connection. She had some great scenes with David Canary. I remember, it was just involving like psychic abilities and characters, ghostly characters coming back from the. Once in a while, we'd see some of that, and I like that they kind of have this psychic. They play that psychic sort of connected card, similar to the way that they did it with Opal and All My Children. Just kind of there in the background is like the resident sort of kooky character that can kind of see to the other side and allow for those moments. And in this case, it's a lot more, it's not so much kooky as dramatic. In this case, it's very, she's, going in with her rituals and her music and her, but she's taking it very seriously. And we should be taking it. Sarah's in peril right now. She's in a tough spot in the.
And what I like about it is when Sophia is kind of going into, just to hold Sarah's hand, just to kind of feel what she's going through, and because we've seen where Sara can hear Sophia's voice saying, "Sara, come back to us," or "Wake up," or whatever, and it's so great because she's able to break through where Lex couldn't, where Jack couldn't, and she's able to set up the music. She's able to.
The music kind of sounds like the soundscape that I set to fall asleep to, actually.
But it's kind of calming, healing music, and the way that they have Sara kind of trapped in her mind with the memory of Red Garrett. This is kind of like this season gives us kind of our first glimpse into Red Garrett from beyond the grave, with him appearing to Adam in his nightmares, as well as Sara now in her comatose state.
Reminding us that they're connected, reminding us that is her son, because, with his behavior so polar opposite of Pete, it's almost like you kind of forget that, oh no, he's Sarah's blood too. There is that connection. There is still that, element. And just seeing them, that nightmare parallel, like you said, it's it brings in the supernatural, but in a creepy way. And especially the way some of those scenes in the hallway were shot, when they kind of showed Sara like running and like almost slow-mo kind of, I mean, it was just disturbing.
Running to Sophia's voice towards the light, and then you have the darkness, the red, the devil pulling her back.
I admit, though, it did it took me out of the scene a little bit, the way that he was saying Sarah's name. It was a little creepy. It was a little weird. I had a little trouble swallowing that. He's like, Sara, and it just sounded very like
Yep.
creaky old, scary horror movie, a little much, but it was still, well, well acted, very dramatic, very, nerve-wracking moment for our poor girl. She's, she's going through it right now. She needs
Yes.
to get out of that hallway.
Yes, exactly. And it's just tough for Jack and Lex and Sophia to kind of hear that news where,
Yeah.
Dr. Campbell is telling them prepare for the worst.
And when Jack reminds us too, I mean, he just lost his grandson. He just
Yep.
lost Vivian. And now he's on the cusp of potentially losing his daughter too. And he says as much. He just reminds us of that familial connection, which is good because that they do, and we'll cover it when we get to that point. But they do mention they twine in Damien and his murder and that whole situation again. So they at the top of the episode and towards the end of the episode, they keep that thread intact in spite of all that's going on.
Yeah, because in the last episode we saw, or one of the previous episodes we saw, the cops come to Avery and said, you have to come down to the station. Right. So we find out that Avery and Zoe are both at the police station because they're putting them through kind of a facial recognition program. The guys are there. Instead of doing a lineup like you would normally see, they're bringing the suspects or the people in one by one.
Yes.
And, she has to relive the night that Damien was killed.
Yes.
In
order to identify. And, number 4, she manages to as soon as she sees him, and we even get like that kind of creepy sort of, he's like looking down and then kind of looks up with that menacing sort of, sends a chill through you. It's just very well acted scene, even though it's short.
And it was very different because I was expecting a lineup like normal police, like almost like you said on Law and Order, SVU, where you have the 6 different people come in and then they say, I feel like that would be more effective than seeing people one by one, because sometimes that could play tricks on you where you think it's somebody and then you see somebody completely different, not able to make that comparison.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But regardless, just the intensity, the look that Avery gets, when she sees number 4, it's like your heart just goes out to her, and she is just, and you're glad that Zoe is there to comfort her.
Oh, absolutely.
All that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. And it's good because, excuse me.
Oh, goodness. Hairball.
Sorry about that, folks. I still have a pretty bad cough from this weather going, the temperature going up and down, and but anyway, so because I feel like Zoe was at Zoe wasn't at the wedding, right?
Zoe was the one. She was at the wedding because she was the one who was officiating.
That's right. She was. You're absolutely right. She was officiating the wedding, so she and Avery would be able to make that corroboration.
Yeah, but Avery, I guess, just had the better visual, or was called upon. But regardless, very well acted, but just kind of a gut punch of a scene, because you almost forget in the midst of all the action that's happening with the kidnapping that someone actually was killed, and Damien. They're not letting us forget that there was another casualty, and in the entire horror show that played out. And it's good that they kind of pepper that back in while they're having all this action going on with Pete trying to track down the folks that have been kidnapped, and the folks Garrett,
exactly,
currently in Puerto Rico.
And here's the thing, I didn't realize that there were still people left behind in Bay City that did the attack. I thought they all followed Adam back to Puerto Rico.
Right.
So it's actually pretty, it's pretty interesting that one of them was left behind as a local, mobster or local bad guy.
Right. Just given how, plotted out and planned this whole thing, that Adam, tried to cover all the bases and make sure that this plan was going to go off without, any hitches or any issues.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, I mean, it's a good way of keeping the memory alive of Damien, as well as getting us, kind of forward progress in Bay City. And then we go ahead and get, we get Pete, and we move to Puerto Rico.
Yes, because we see, Here Comes the Bride episode title. Of course, that's going to involve the wedding.
Yes.
As pretty in the previous episode, we had it where Adam was going, telling Daniel, you're going to be my best man, and you need to get changed and get spruced up so that we can. And then we get to see all the folks in their wedding garb, which I have to say is interesting. And my thoughts have changed on Vivian's dress.
Yeah.
I mean, she can get away with it, but not the most in terms of, no, it looked a little, wasn't too sure about the veil thing with the lace and the whole, it was just, and obviously it's, not a wedding that, is, a celebrated wedding at all or anything like that. And it's just strictly, a hostage ceremony. But even so, that dress, not the most, they could have done better for her.
Yeah. But it's also, you're having Adam pick something out for her without her even having any input.
Maybe so, hey, who knows? Silver could have been the one who picked it out.
That's true, and it's such a funny scene, seeing Silver, funny sight, seeing Silver in her bridesmaid or maid of honor dress, with a bouquet in one hand and a machine gun in the other.
I made a note of that too, and her just kind of flaunting it, her just kind of owning that whole persona, that whole look. Just I'm a crazy lady with a gun.
Yeah.
Weapon strapped to me, but hey, look at my cute little dress. Just what's going on with that character. And I do appreciate that these, goons and henchmen and folks that are, helping Adam with this whole insane plot, they're characters. They're full, right. They're fleshed out. We get to see these kind of crazy, folks, and they're not just guys standing in the background holding the weapons, even though we did see all of them. We get to see some, colorful characters as well. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what's really the best visual, I will say, is when they're playing the "Here Comes the Bride" and Tamara is trying to kind of talk Vivian to say, "Hey, let's just escape, let's just run." And then are you kidding?
Ninja Tam has disappeared on this island.
Yeah,
she has no subtlety at all.
None.
I'm sorry, but you don't go talking about, like, I whisper a little bit louder about the fact that you're surrounded by sociopaths and you want to run away. Like, come on, they're all standing literally right there.
When they show Vivian and she's in her dress, and right behind her is a goon with his gun just kind of cocked right at her head, as if to say, "You're going through this, whether you like it or not." Just that visual is amazing.
Yep. And then you have Tamara in her, like, actually very, very flattering and pretty little bridesmaid dress there for her. But it cracked me up that she's just trying to, plot this whole escape while they're literally, like, completely in earshot of every person that's, like, trying to do that. It's like, come on, you could have discussed this, taken her off to, like, a little bit more. Oh, I just need to adjust your veil. Do something, kind of get out of, like, Exactly. But then I guess if you're surrounded by men with machine guns, you really don't want to, cause too much of a flare up. I suppose.
Exactly.
I just felt bad too for the poor little flower girl. I mean,
yeah, right.
First wedding now, you're excited to be a flower girl. I never had the opportunity, and I was always jealous of all my friends when I was a little kid who got to be flower girls at weddings. And I wasn't having relatives or family members that were getting married and were asking me. So to have that be like her initiation to being a flower girl, that's unfortunate. That was sad. She's sprinkling her little rose petals, and there's guards with guns just surrounding her. I felt bad.
Exactly. But yeah, it's there was just so much about that wedding. Obviously, we know it was under duress anyways, but it's just so much about that wedding that's crazy to me, because you also have Adam talking to the pastor who, like, he gives him a check of $100,000 to be like, okay, you're officiating this, but then forget about everything you see.
And, the priest actually does kind of, he's very enthusiastic when he's officiating. He's, talking on about,
Yeah.
The two are going to be, your souls are going to be entwined, and
Yep.
he is going through with it like a pro, like a champ. Oh yeah,
And of
for
course,
that,
when he's
this
asking
really
Vivian, of course, when he's asking Vivian, are you marrying him, with your heart without being pressured
coerced.
under
Yeah.
duress or anything? It's like, do you see the machine gun? Like, that's got to be going through her mind.
Yeah, like kind of, look at, sir, look at the surroundings, read the room a little bit.
Yeah. But then we find our hero coming over the wall.
And he's okay when Castro calls it, he just straight out says, "Oh yeah, he's a madman."
Yeah.
Like I'm
He's
like,
crazy.
"Yep, Castro is speaking for all of us right now," because you have him trying to keep Caleb from doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because Caleb is ready to go help Daniel.
Of course, which is understandable. He wants to go and rescue his husband, but he has to be physically pulled back. Whereas Pete just makes like an escape for the trees, and it's just like, "See you guys, I'm out of here. I'm playing, action hero."
He's just going right after going right over the wall, while Castro's like, "Hang on, wait for SWAT. They'll do it." But to Pete's credit, he gets in there. He sneaks up on one of the guards.
Oh yeah,
he's
at first he is very cagey, very good about the whole, and he manages to knock the guy out, do a sleeper hold, whatever.
Yep.
Maybe there's some wrestling term that I don't know.
That was
sort of combat term that I don't know about, but regardless, he disables and disarms the one guard, even gets the gun away from him, which is smart. It's like, good, get that weapon, but then it kind of gets a little bit ruined when and now granted, I know he's excited to see Vivian, but dude, you totally blew your cover.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Come on. You don't yell for her when you see her surrounded by guns, knowing granted, you have the height advantage, but come on. Like, you have the high ground, but even so.
Exactly.
Why his choice to do that kind of undid a lot of his, cagey spy James Bond sort of action hero mode that we were, in my opinion, anyway. And now, granted, I know he loves Vivian and was happy to see her alive, but even so, like, don't yell for her in that precise moment. Maybe
you're right. You're absolutely right. He could have been a little bit more stealthy about it, but
we needed that dramatic ending. We needed that dramatic cliffhanger. So
yeah, we did. And that, the way that chaos started to ensue because the guns start firing and, just able to, it's just chaos. That's what happened. I mean, they say that at every soap wedding, there's going to be something happening.
Well, it had me thinking of the wedding from Bay the Beginning with our friend Igor.
Yes.
Showing up and causing chaos. Like, I mean, obviously the Bay has had some beautiful weddings and, beautiful, but it's a soap. So of course you're going to have wedding craziness. That's another trope that gets, blended in, which you have to appreciate. You have to enjoy that.
Absolutely do. And folks, I do want to just go ahead and mention that if you're looking for awesome Suds and Squirt Circle Media t-shirts, you can go over to our merch shop, which is powered by Spreadshop. Merch.suds-media.com is where you find all of your favorite Suds and Squirt Circle Media merchandise, whether it's logos of Suds and Squirt Circle, Dockside at the Bay, Suds News, or other ones that are kind of rip-offs or parodies of WWE stuff, whether it's the Suds of Mania, the Suds World Order, any of that merchandise. You can go merch.suds-media.com and get your own merch. And they're always running promo codes, so just keep an eye on the top of the page. Again, merch.suds-media.com, and you can go ahead and buy whatever merch you want and help support our network at the same time. So, and you remember, folks, we do have these cute little cuddle buddies. Anytime you buy a Suds and Squirt Circle Media cuddle buddy, whether it's any logo, but if you buy the doggy cuddle buddy, the proceeds of the Doggy Cuddle Buddy sales, as well as the Doggy Bandana sales, those go, the profits of those sales go directly to Samantha's friends. Again, the Doggy Cuddle.
My Yorkie highly recommends. Well, my parents'
Yeah.
Yorkie highly recommends the Doggy Bandana. You know,
Absolutely.
2 paws up, 5
Very
stars. She looks super cute in it. So
very nice. So yes, the proceeds from the Doggy Bandana or the Doggy Cuddle Buddy, those proceeds go to Samantha's friends, but everything else supports our network. All right. So with that said, we're just about at the end of the episode as we see the chaos ensue with Pete crashing the wedding in one of the most dramatic ways that I've seen in any kind of soap.
Felt like a Western almost, just guns on, guns blazing, everyone ducking for cover, people grabbing, each other, human shields. It was very chaotic. Can't imagine, even choreographing that, trying to arrange. So yeah, such a dramatic, way.
And having Christos be on both sides of the gunfight.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's the high ground, and then he's, below ducking for cover. It's just, it was crazy and chaotic, and you just wonder where it's going to wind up for our heroes,
Oh, absolutely. But either way, I mean, we're getting towards the season finale of season 7, so it's going to be fantastic. I think we only got 1 or 2 episodes left of season 7. So it's going to be fantastic either way. But folks, we are out of time. Again, it was a 20-minute show, 20-minute episode. We covered everything from, what's going on in Bay City to what's going on in Puerto Rico. And I believe next week is going to be episode number 15, or episode number 14, excuse me, which is going to be the season finale, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're right there. And then before we know it, it's going to get into season 8, which, is available for streaming purposes. You said through Amazon recently you went in and were able to purchase, but I know it's up on Tubi. I plan on watching it there, amongst other platforms.
Exactly. The Bay is found in multiple places. I believe also the Roku channel, Tubi TV, Amazon Prime Video has up until season 8.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Peacock has.
Peacock has up until season 6.
Season 6, got it. Okay.
And also, Popstar has, I believe, all 9 seasons streaming, and season 10 is on their current daily feed. So you can find the Bay in multiple different places.
Yes, you can.
All right. So with that said, Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I am Misfit8690 on Twitter and a Little Misfit52 on YouTube, as well as on Instagram. Feel free to find me there to chat soaps or whatever strikes your fancy.
Fantastic. As always, you can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Vinny Suds. At Suds Media is our Network X account, which is what I generally post off of Suds and Squared Circle Media on Facebook as well. We are also on Instagram and Threads, which is at Suds and Squared Circle. TikTok, I'm going to be doing a lot more with TikTok coming up in the coming weeks and months. So go follow our TikTok and our Twitch, which is both the same, at Suds_media, as well as our YouTube channel, as always, suds-media.com. Hit that like button for the video, hit the subscribe button for the network, turn on the notifications bell, and send a super, and you'll get entered into a chance to win a Suds and Squared Circle Media t-shirt. With that said, folks, we are out of time. We will be back next week to talk all about the season finale of season 7 of the Emmy Award-winning web soap, The Bay. So for Kim, I'm Vinny. We will see you next week as we sit dockside at The Bay. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.